of January, 2022.
Power line to convey a certain brilliance, a telephone line to carry a voice, a metro line to bring us all downtown. Lines of connection, communication, not the borders of boundaries that slice and dice a nation. Divided by the chalk lines of disreputable history, past failures are laid out as we shrug with absent mystery. Those bodies left behind us while we amble on ahead, fearful of the wrong things from newspapers unread. Before I tell you what to do, or you try to tell me, let's all see what's been done and where we could have been. By knowing what's before us, the path might clear ahead, and focus on new obstacles uncharted by the dead. Power line from a gurgling turbine, a telephone line from a quiet room, a metro line from across the city. Maybe we'll all raise our glasses soon. They say across the fence line the grass is always verdurous, but we're not corralling cattle, fearing wranglers about the murders. When we look out past dividers, we're unsurprised to see more folks erecting fences, becoming detainees. Before I worry about you or you worry about me, let's all dwell on ourselves, we're the private enemy. Becoming who we're meant to, virtuous and creative. We won't dread the different, the strange or unrelated. A power line to convey certain brilliance, a telephone line to carry a voice, a metro line to bring us home, to bring us home. The summer is past, but your days keep growing longer. There's no wind in your sails, but the storm's blowing stronger. Walking hard, standing tall, keeping your head up through it all. Fighting fires, spinning plates. Goodness, how did it get so late? Lay your head down and dream. Lay your head down and lay your head down and dream. Lay your head down Just let your mind flow downstream. Sprawl out in a moonbeam. Lay your head down and dream. Joe Hills is filmed before a live streaming audience.
That's us. Howdy, y'all. Joe Hills here, recording as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee, and tonight y'all are my live streaming audience. I am doing fantastically well this Sunday evening. I hope you are too. We are here at the Deep Field machine. I have a bunch of my visual settings turned down because we were mining recently. Also, I don't have any of like the graphical improvement mods installed because I was having problems connecting to the server. If those go away, we might experiment a little bit with turning those back on tonight. I gotta say, I have been just getting a lot better sleep lately. I'm feeling fantastic. I'm listening to the songs at the beginning of the stream and I'm like, wow, I'm getting so much rest. Like, the music just sounds fuller. And then I'm like, oh wait, I also replaced my headphones that were dropping half the frequencies. That'll also make the music sound better. I was just like, wow, it sounds so beautiful. What have I been missing out on all this time? Not sleeping. It's like, oh wait, no. No, that was the headphones. Womp womp. Anyway, we are here. We're going to kind of clean up a little bit in this area. I had planted a bunch of mangrove trees here to get the roots in place. Speaking of testing the server. Okay, is that tree just messed up? It looks like half this tree is missing. Is that a chunk error? That's just a messed up tree. Okay. I was going to say, speaking of testing the network, usually if I get kicked from the server, it's when I'm flying around. Uh-oh. There's a little bit of lag on the rocket there. Lag on that rocket there. Oh, wait. If I'm flying around, I need the Totem of Undying in my offhand. Okay. There it is. Okay. So the network problems don't seem to be 100% fixed. Okay. But anyway, so yeah, we're not going to turn on those other graphical mods or whatever at the moment, because it's one more thing to deal with the troubleshooting. But anyway, we planted all those mangroves here to get the roots in place for these fantastic wintry trees. And I can always blame a chunk border. Yeah, maybe that tree grew while the chunk beyond it wasn't loaded. Is that possible? But anyway, we had planted all these mangrove trees, and I was like, I'll clean those up later. Well, welcome to the future. It's later. These beautiful mangroves are indeed giving this place a great vibe, but we need to get back there and chop down the surplus trees. Then we're going to use the extra mangrove logs to make some extra chests for materials that we're going to need for the pixel art for our pinball machine. So I'm excited about that. Okay, let's make sure we got the right chat open here in the Discord. Hey, evening Centauratron, evening Unlimited Creativity, Stephanie Hall, and Amanda. Hope y'all enjoy the stream. Hope it helps you kick back and relax. DeLocal Ratatouille says, why do you have so many mangrove trees? Well, those are supposed to look like dead winter trees. And so, like, dead trees in winter with no leaves on them. So anyway, I planted all these mangroves over here. Boy, wow, that network connection icon is not looking good. I'm going to try something. And I'm going to have to black out Minecraft to do it. Because I'm not sure that people... This is kind of a thing. Let's bring... Okay. Let's try this again. Let's see if this helps. I can't see any... Well, now it's saying I have a full connection. But am I actually going to see a result from it? Interesting. Anyway, Evan Netta rolling in and tipping 6 new Israeli shekels. Says, gotta start this train. Let's see what that is in U.S. abacus beads. That is 1 U.S. abacus bead. So that is our first tip from of the stream. 19 away from the next face camera expansion milestone. Okay, so it looks like the voice chat mod is broken by the solution. Voice chat not connected. Okay, so the thing I did fixes everything but voice chat, which is why I didn't do it in the first place. And I'm still getting a little bit of lag on the fireworks. Yeah. So it's showing me as having a better connection, but I'm not sure the connection's any better. Dang it, I didn't beat Beef on getting that second match out. I spent most of the day in the airport today and not editing, so... I guess I can just... I don't know. I was not expecting him to publish that so soon. We didn't have, like, an agreed embargo date or anything, so it's not like he screwed up. It's just more like I'm disappointed in myself. Yay, disappointment. Let's just hide under the pinball till we feel better. Okay. His episode is super short, so he didn't actually show the match. What did he show? Okay, we're gonna disconnect again. Let me blank out Minecraft and see if I'm gonna switch back to the original thing. I just wanted to test that real quick. If it helps, Beef more or less always posts on Sundays. Okay. So, bring that back in. See, now it still says I have full bars, but like when I'm trying to place blocks and stuff. So that indicator there is not reliable. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking this is definitely something local on my ISP's end. And I'm realizing it might be good to go get a farming implement here in order to more quickly remove these leaves. I've not thought this through. Okay. Well, I mean, realistically, it's Beef's game. He worked really hard on making it, and it's fine if he gets the glory of publishing the first few test matches first. I thought I was ahead of him on this one. There's no actual reason I needed to get my episode out first at all. I was just like... I was like, I'm trying to get creative with the editing, and it cost me more time than probably... I should have been less creative, is the lesson here. So... J-O-Yen, thank you for tipping 2, who writes, good game. Thank you very much, J-O-Yen. That puts us 7 away from our next face camera expansion milestone. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. We have a question from Agent Wolf 10 in the Twitch chat who writes, what are your thoughts on this HermitCraft season? I think winter on HermitCraft is always interesting. It's not as active as autumn because we don't have Halloween. Halloween and autumn is probably my favorite HermitCraft season. But, you know, and we're so early into winter. It's hard to really tell how it's going to go. But I'm optimistic. Second Fifth says, I'm excited to see your edit of the game even after watching Beef's. I don't think it's worthwhile to watch both. Like, that's... I don't know. I don't know. Like, And maybe I'm just of that opinion because I'm editing it, so I'm watching it 25 times or something. But like, I don't think people will want to watch it twice. Oh wait, does it need to be Silk Touch in order to? Yeah, that's fine. The other thing is there was a bunch of, like, nice-to-have stuff in the editing where I was like, you know what? I'm not going to worry about that this time because it's more important that I get it out in a timely manner. But now that Beefs is out there for everyone to watch, I'm like, well, maybe I'll spend more time on all the stuff that I was like, well, that's a nice-to-have, but, like, you know, there's no longer any time pressure to get it out sooner. So, like, I don't know. I was trying to find a compromise between doing some interesting editing stuff and getting it out quickly versus doing all the editing stuff. And now I've lost my excuse to not just do all the editing stuff. I don't know. Grumble, grumble, grumble. It's gonna be harder for me. Yeah. I'm gonna have to spend more time editing this now that I don't have the novelty of being first to market. Now it has to be way better. It's fine. Where did I just throw that tool? Okay, I did. Hearth Tips 5 and says, "Hey Joe, I usually only catch videos, but I wanted to give you a little financial high five. Thank you for all the laughter and have a wonderful night." Well, thank you very much, Hearth. That does indeed put us 12 away from the next face camera expansion milestone. Thank you so much. And our first PayPal tip of the night just rolled in from Craig, who tips 15. Boom. That's going to get us $3 past our first face camera expansion milestone. Craig writes, "Life has been pretty serious lately with some family health issues. I love tuning into your streams to give me a little hope or a little escape from the doom and gloom of reality." Well, hey, Craig, I am glad to provide whatever small bit of consolation I can. You're out there doing the hard work of dealing with that situation, and I'm wishing you the best. In the meantime, since you put us over the top on that milestone, I hope that you take the opportunity to direct your attention down here to slot 9, where I'm putting the hot in the hot bar, so I can say, "Howdy, y'all. Grow Hills here, expanded as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee. Dee-da-dee-da-dee, dee-da-dee-da-dee, Alrighty. And so, best of luck to you, Craig, with dealing with that situation. Thank you again for supporting the arts and my show in particular. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. And good evening, Fred Tew. Glad you could join us this evening. People keep saying Beef's was like the ESPN highlights. People will still want to watch your video for the full match. No, Beef also published the full match. He published both. So I'm not gonna get first to market on any of this. There's no excuse for me not spending as much time as it takes to get it perfect other than laziness at this point, which is disappointing because I was kind of ready to just be like, it's good enough. But now it has to be perfect. Oops, I forgot about that part. Okay. Let's go ahead and find a nice safe place to land here. Start taking care of all this. Leaves. Yeah, I gotta say also, thanks y'all for having so much fun with me last night. I had a great time reading Dracula, and then when we went on to do the cast of Amontillado Woe and those Shakespeare bits, that was really fun. I always feel like it's a little bit self-indulgent for me to be like, hey, okay, well now let's read some Shakespeare, but I feel like I get a lot out of it, and it was nice seeing that y'all seem to be having fun with it too, so. Welcome, Blind Disney. Welcome. Hope you are having a fantastic evening. Club meditation. No, you didn't miss the cask of Amontillado. You missed the cask of Amontillado. Whoa. Well, every Saturday night we usually do some fun readings of either poetry or theater. The last half year or so, we've been reading a chapter of Dracula every Saturday. But Saturday's always been kind of like let's sing some songs. Wow, okay. I need to turn these headphones down a little bit. I'm still getting used to this. Okay, so that's going to be this one, maybe? Wait, no. Input. That's the mixer. That's the main. Okay. No, okay, that is the headphone. Test. Polaris North Star. Yeah, thank you. Doing well, Daniel. Thanks for asking. Mike, I did see your tweet today, but it was a link to a video, and I wasn't anywhere that I could, like, listen to a video. Videos, it's funny because I produce videos, but, like, if I'm on Twitter, I'm usually, like, out in public or doing something without headphones or something. Because, yeah, I spent a lot of the day at the airport. Woo! But my daughter is home safe, so, you know, it was worth it. But, yeah, I did see the tweet. I did not have it. If it was, like, a link to an article or something, I would have read it. But, yeah, since it was a video, I couldn't really, or at least I think it was a video. It looked like a video from the embed. The other thing is I'm trying to avoid reading anything about Dracula until, and same thing, I'm not listening to anybody else's book on tape readings of Dracula until after I finish my reading, because I'm trying to kind of go in, not blind, because I've read Dracula before, but it was like over 10 years ago. It was before my kid was born. So, like, I don't want to read too many analyses of it or anything right now, because I want to be able to form, like, I want to see what I noticed first, and then go back and do, like, see what other people's analyses were. Like, realizing that Van Helsing was a total Mary Sue for Bram Stoker. That was something I came up with myself reading it. But I'm sure other people have had the same realization, and I would have been deprived of the opportunity to come to that conclusion myself if I had read their essays first. I'm not going to film another test match to do editing on when I've already invested so much time in getting all the pieces I need in replay mod and other stuff for this test match. Like, it'll be faster to do it the next time I do it because I'm learning so much now, but, like, assembling, like, I've put a lot into the footage I'm already working on. I'm not throwing it away. Yeah, I've read Terry Pratchett. I think I've probably read, I really liked Good Omens, and I've probably only read like 15 of the Discworld books, and I think there's probably closer to 3 dozen, maybe. So I think I've read about half. That's in my queue to get back to at some point, because I really enjoy them, but, like, I've got a huge stack of books right now I don't need to be buying anymore. Let's see. These, I think, are just, yeah, that. Good Omens Saturday readings, asks Evan Netta. No, it's not in the public domain. We only really do public domain stuff. Like, the rare occasion where I read something that's not in the public domain, it's, like, because I know the author and think that they'll not sue me. But that might be optimistic. Cavman says, isn't Howard in the public domain now? Howard who? Or who Howard? I don't... Like, Howard the Duck is definitely still owned by Marvel, so I'm assuming it's a different Howard, but I don't know. Wizard of Oz is now public domain. That's a good point. I don't know if I want to read it, though. Like, I like I said, y'all, I want to just read shorter stuff. Oh, Conan the Barbarian Howard. Okay. If it is, I didn't know that. But I want to read shorter stuff for the time being. After we finish Dracula, I'm not going to jump right into another novel. I had a lot of fun last night just reading short stories and poems with y'all. And some, what do you call it? Shakespeare. Bonjour Limpe, says the Wizard of Oz. She is a short book. Well, I mean, even if it's a short book, if it's a short book that I don't want to read out loud, then I don't know. I'm not sure that it would be a fun book to read out loud. I'm like I'd have to look at it. But I don't know if Frank Baum's writing is like narrative in a read out loud way. You know what I mean? Like Dickens did live readings of his books in like theaters while he was alive. So like Dickens's work was really eminently readable because he would write it to make sure it would sound good when spoken aloud, right? And I'm not sure that Frank Baum was necessarily thinking along those lines. It's, I mean, and there's, like I said, there's a huge difference. I'm not saying like, oh, this is not a good book. I'm just saying like, this is I'm not sure this is a good book to read out loud on a stream, or a book that I would enjoy reading out loud on a stream. Howdy, Manty Gag. Devin Crotty says, it's been a while since you wrote terrible fan fiction on stream. That's a great point, too. Maybe in honor of Valentine's Day, we could write some really bad, like, write a really bad romance fan fiction. Now, the thing is, because of the subject matter, we obviously wouldn't, like, usually the HermitCraft fan fiction stuff, I like mix HermitCraft people with like characters from Doctor Who or Star Trek or something, but I think we'd have to limit it to only like Doctor Who and Star Trek and Dracula. I don't think my friends would appreciate me writing romantic fan fiction about them, no matter how hilariously intentionally bad it is. I could ask. I could say, hey, would anyone like to opt in to having incredibly bad romantic fan fiction written about them for my Valentine's Day episode? But I think literally every hermit would say no. I cannot think of a... It feels like a waste of people's time to ask. You know what I mean? That would have been maybe more of an Empires thing. Oh, we could write it about the Empires people. That, maybe. Maybe that's a thing. Let's see. I could write it about the Knives Out guy falling. Yeah, it could be about Rust from True Detective and Benoit Blanc. That sounds like real fan fiction right there, doesn't it? We're gonna write some bad fan fiction. It's like for our Valentine's Day episode, we're gonna write some bad romantic fan fiction about Benoit Blanc and Rust from True Detective. Two characters that I'm sure all the children watching at home are familiar with. NJ says, what are we doing tonight? More winterizing? No, we're just cleaning up the mess from the winterizing. Great Gatsby is in the public domain. Oh, I like the... Somebody said... Amy W. says, adding Columbo, please. Oh, I like the idea that they both go to Columbo for advice. Yeah, you could totally do this. Well, the funny thing is, Rust from True Detective and Benoit Blanc are actually both connected to Louisiana law enforcement in some way, too. So that's an interesting angle. You know, the more we're talking about this, I kind of want to drop the romance angle and just write Columbo fan fiction. I just want to write new Columbo stories. I'll just write about a murder that happens on Valentine's Day. And Columbo solving it. That's actually all I want out of this exercise. Anyway. I was only going to be making fun of the romance stuff anyway. I wasn't going to be seriously attempting it. So the funny thing is, because Columbo is so irritating, you can use the bad fan fiction framework that I've done for my previous bad fan fiction episodes. Basically as is, while telling a real Columbo story. And that's interesting to me. That's interesting. I kind of want to pursue that now. Kingu says, you have to be careful with a lot of the public domain works because it was such a different time in history. Yeah, that's the other thing, is like, there's in terms of like reading public domain stories, I really like Lovecraft, there's a lot of racism there, and I don't want to have to like, I'd like to read something where I don't have to constantly be like, well, let's take a second and talk about the racism here. It's like it'd be fun to just read something we could enjoy reading and not read something where we have to keep being like, oh my gosh. Like, and it's one of those things like, he was constantly called out by people about it at the time. So it's not even like, oh, he was a product of his era. It's like, no, he was super racist then. People constantly mocked him for it and argued with him. Like, I don't want to deal with that. So yeah. So when it comes to like picking stuff to read for the Saturday night stuff, yeah. Just because it's in the public domain doesn't make it like a fun choice for me. But yeah, February 14th framing with Columbo. You know what? If it's not an actual romance story, we can come back to having the hermits in the story again. And so then, so it's like, Vintage Beef was going to have a Valentine's Day sale for cards so that people could buy cards for their sweethearts. But, the card shop was robbed. Now, if we're going to use the Columbo framing, we have to see who robbed the card shop at the beginning, and then have Columbo just slowly drive them insane, which is fun. Like, but yeah, so we can bring it back to the HermitCraft server, but have it be like a Valentine's special at that point. Yeah, the Iliad's public domain, but I'm terrible at reading Greek. Like, I look at it and I'm just like, oh my god, this is all Greek to me. So, yeah, my personal favorite translation of the Iliad is not in the public domain. So the translations into English are going to be copywritten whenever they were translated, right? And so, yeah. So I would love to do the Iliad, but I've looked at some of the public domain translations of it, and they're not as good as the translation that I prefer. I'm not going to say which one that is because they're not sponsoring me, but if they want to pony up, I'll shill the Iliad. Shiliad, boom, brought it back around. Columbo solving what happened to the Royal Diamonds. Well, I thought we solved that. I'm sure that's in Vintage Beef's episode 2. You should read the Old Testament. Well, that's going to have the same problems, is like, depending on the translation might not be in the public domain. I don't want to read the King James. It's a little Mumbo helping Columbo hide the murder. I don't know that that's logical. Sherlock Holmes is in public domain now, so I could read those stories. Yeah, Sherlock Holmes might be a fun one to read. That's worth revisiting. Everybody's trying to combine Columbo and Mumbo, and none of them are good. Columbo? Columbo. Malumbo. They're all... Stephanie Hall says, what about Alice in Wonderland? Surely that's not controversial. It might not be controversial, but I'm not sure... I'm not sure if I want to read it out loud. Like, I don't know. Like some of that stuff is like... So, like, Dracula, I really like... Like, I mean, I guess Lewis Carroll has a decent meter with how his writing works in general. But, like, Dracula works because it has multiple speakers. It jumps between, like, multiple points of view in a really interesting way with the diary entries and stuff. Like a lot of novels just aren't going to be that. And so I don't want to commit to another novel, like, right now. It's just a lot. And we are not picking things up, apparently. Let's go to bed. Kipling has some interesting poems. They would also require some framing. But unlike the Lovecraft stuff, I like the problems with Kipling, I think, are more interesting to discuss as they arise than the problems with Lovecraft. And it feels more in my lane to do so. I'm not ruling out Kipling. Also, Kipling has a lot of short songs and poems and stuff where we could be like with Lovecraft, I'm still committing to reading a story for an hour and a half, right? Like his short stories are not that short, whereas Kipling's poems are pretty short. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is not in the public domain. Okay. But I want to come back to this this Valentine's Day idea. Sorry, we got derailed. Talking about the Saturday night stuff. We'll worry about Saturday night stuff later. We'll worry about Saturday night stuff on Saturdays. We still have 2 more weeks of Dracula. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, Crowless Man says, I was going to suggest Beowulf, but my favorite translation isn't in the public domain. Yeah, that's the problem. Is there's been a lot of great translations of classic works lately, and I would love to celebrate those, but we can't read them continuously. Like, I might be able to show an excerpt, like, hey, let's compare this version of the Iliad with this other version, with excerpts. But I couldn't read entire chapters or anything. Okay, so we have already filled up our inventory again somehow. Oh, I guess because I left all those other materials on the ground that I picked up when I came back. I bless the rains down in Dracula. Dun 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 dun. Amanda says, I think the majority of Ibsen's work is public with good translations. That name doesn't sound familiar to me. Is that something in the Western canon? Is that Ibsen? Are you misspelling something else, or this might just be a blind spot of mine. I don't know an Ibsen offhand. Norwegian poet. Henrik Ibsen. Okay. Famous Norwegian poet. Interesting. No, I'm not familiar with Ibsen at all. Fallstar Tips 5, who says, Dangerous Liaisons by Choderlos de Laclos in the Thomas More translation is public domain. Interesting. I'm not familiar with that at all. He did the Doll's House. He did A Doll's House. A Doll's House. I feel like I've heard of that. I'm not trying to be I'm not being goofy here. Like, oh, what? Who's Sherlock Holmes? No, I actually don't know who this is. A Doll's House. Is that a play? I feel like this is the sort of thing. I do know that Steven Spielberg worked on Columbo. It's a play, and you had to read in college. Okay. My actual formal theater background is really limited. So I have a lot of huge blind spots. Like, I know a whole lot about whatever the teachers I had cared about, but if a teacher that I had didn't like somebody, they picked somebody else to cover, and I didn't like take enough classes. Like, I mean, if you have a degree in theater, you end up with everything, right? But like, I took one class on plays called World Drama, which was like, we covered maybe 5 or 6 plays in depth and like looked at some of the other works by the same authors, but like that was 5 or 6 plays in depth with a few things by the same authors. That wasn't like it wasn't, we didn't cover everything, you know what I mean? Like a lot of his work surrounded female independence. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so I don't have a degree in English or literature. I have a degree in history. So also I was but having a sibling who was in the theater department as a theater major, I saw all the plays that the school was doing for a while, because I also had a lot of friends in the theater department. So it's like the things that they performed, I might have even seen 2 or 3 times. You know, because it's like, hey, my friends are in this, I'm gonna go. But like, I don't have any sort of like degree in theater or literature. So most of what I know about poetry, I learned in high school, or from a few random books along the way. Okay. What is my Minecraft server's name? I actually don't know. Like, you know, some companies will like name the servers with like Greek gods. So like one server is Apollo and the other one is Zeus. And then another one is Hera. And another one is whatever. But like, I don't know how they name servers. Quirky says that's how my dad names his personal computers. Yeah. Like, most companies will have some sort of fun internal naming system for the first, like, dozen computers. And then after that, they're just like, server 28, server 29, server 30, server 31. Or it might be like North America West 1, North America West 2, North America East 1. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not involved on the back end of the server. Kaname says companies do what? They give servers host names. Hufflepuff says, what are we doing today? We are cleaning up my mess of mangroves over here by Deepfield. Our little Christmas tree got surrounded. I forgot about it. It was so... I was like, why is this tree here? Oh, this is Ollie's tree. Womp womp. Looks like it's getting dark. We should probably go. Fretboard Freak says that the teams at his work had different themes for themselves. So they would get questions like, can we hook Hogwarts up to Volvo? Oh, yeah, because one team would name all of their servers after car companies. Another one would name it after, like, wizarding schools. That makes sense. Okay. Quick reminder, we are $12 away from the next face camera expansion milestone. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Okay, so we need to grab more rockets out of here, too. Nope, that's the wrong one. Having two chests with the same name might not be my best idea ever. Let's just take a whole second stack here. That did not go well. Devin Crotty says, my dad names his servers after moons, which is basically the same thing. Presumably the same thing as naming them after Greek gods. Yeah, that makes sense. Have I read Jabberwocky on stream? I don't think so. I think I've done the New Jersey parody of it. 'Twas Jersey and the Ocean Groves. Did Mawa into Patterson? Wait, no. 'Twas Bergen and the Erie Road. Did Mawa into Patterson. All Jersey were the Ocean Groves and the Red Bank Bayonne. Beware the Hoppet Kong, my son, the teeth that bite, the nails that claw. Beware the Boundbrook bird and shun the Cardi Communipaw. He took his Belmar blade in hand, long time the fulsome foe he sought, till rested he by a bayway tree, and stood a while in thought. And as in Nutley thought he stood, the Hoppetong, with eyes of flame, came whippany through the Englewood, and Garfield as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through his Belmar blade went hack and sack. He left it dead, and with its head he went weehawken back. Oh, hast thou slain the Hoppetong? Come to my arms, my Pertham boy. Ho hocus day, so ho rawway, he called well in his joy. 'Twas Bergen and the Erie Road, did Mawa into Patterson. All Jersey were the Ocean Groves, and the Red Bank Bayonne. But yeah, no, I don't know Jabberwocky. Yeah, so that I saw in I found that when I was in high school in the I don't know if y'all remember the fortune cookie the GPL fortune cookie program. Just called Fortune. Like on you know, if you're running a Linux production server, you're probably not installing Fortune on it these days. But back when we used to install, like, Linux Mandrake off CDs, before DVD distributions, it would, one of the packages was called Fortune, and there were a bunch of funny quotes and poems and songs and stuff in there. And one of them was that, and being a high schooler with much more free time than I have now, I memorized that one. And I still got it. But I don't know who wrote it or where it came from. I just know that it was apparently notable enough to end up in the Fortune program. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Yeah, let's put that there. Let's put that there. Let's grab all the logs out and consolidate those into... Are any of these... Okay, yeah, we got room in here. We're going to take the logs back with us. We're going to need these logs. There's probably going to be some deep reds in our ASCII art here, too. Jersey Walkie was written by Paul Kiefer, says Monsieur Limpe. Awesome. Sorry, I was trying to... I was trying to click the mute and I couldn't get to it. Sorry. There's a lot of allergens in the air since I vacuumed up. Today I vacuumed all the pine needles up, and I opened the windows and I tried to do everything right, but like, you know, you're kicking up a lot of allergens when you start vacuuming pine needles. You know, in the long term, it's better than leaving them in the carpet or on the carpet. But yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'm not getting sick or anything. Don't worry about my health. Just a lot more kicking around in the air here than usual. Okay, did we get those guys to despawn already? Good, they seem to have. Blurp. Not an optimal place to land. Hey, we got a tip rolling in via PayPal. Let's see who that's from. Derek tips 2 and says balloons are so expensive. Inflation. Well, thank you, Derek. That's going to put us 10 even from the next Face Camera expansion milestone. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Fretboard Freak says fortune is still around. More recently, there's Cowsay, which uses fortune sayings in the text box of an ASCII cow. Welcome to the future. Oh, that's fun. Yeah. I haven't run Linux for fun in probably way too long. Because that's how I got started with Linux. Back in the days when I would have, like, my dad would bring old computers home from work and stuff. So I might have an extra computer. Whereas nowadays, like, all of my computers have some sort of specific business function. So, like, I can't just start, like, risking their viability. Also, I'm the sort of person where, like, one of the reasons that, like, if I'm running Linux on somebody else's server, or, like, even my own server, if I'm running on a server, I'll set it up so it works, and then I'll leave it alone. But when I'm running Linux on the desktop, I'm just constantly noodling with it. I'm like, ooh, what if I tweak this? Ooh, let me recompile the kernel with these flags enabled. And like it's one of those things, like, it's so fun, but the system is only actually usable as a computer half the time because I'm constantly messing with it. You know what I mean? So Quirky says, I did that last week and killed my computer. Yeah, that's the problem. Is, like, that's one of my favorite things to do with computers is mess with them. And so that's one of the reasons why, like, you know, I've got, like, my machines have distinct purposes. Like, the editing machine is for editing. The recording machine is for recording. None of the machines are for messing around with indefinitely, because otherwise I would mess around with them indefinitely. Fretboard Freak says this trick is to have toy systems to play around with so you don't mess with your main stuff. Yeah, no, that you're absolutely right. So, like, in theory, I really want to get away from Windows. I want to completely cut Windows out of my recording stack and streaming stack. But I don't think I'm going to be able to do that until I basically get a second machine comparable to this one, because I can't risk ruining this one without something else to stream and record on, right? In the long term, if you're running a business, you don't want to have any mission-critical hardware that you only have one of anyway. So having a second recording-capable and streaming-capable computer in the house or apartment or office when I get an office or whatever it makes sense for me to have a fallback computer, because, like, you know, there have been times when some of the other hermits were like, oh no, my computer broke, I can't record or stream for 10 days until I get a new one. And I'm just like, that terrifies me. I can't go 10 days without working, you know? So eventually I'm gonna get a second computer of comparable power to this one. Probably it might end up being a Mac Pro, depending on what they release with those. So if I get a Mac Pro and I can use that for streaming and recording, and then I reformat this one to get Linux running on it, and then I've got a fallback, so even if there's like a Mac OS update that crashes or that like breaks OBS or breaks streaming somehow, I don't like having single points of failure, you know what I mean? And so having one machine running Linux and one machine running Mac OS would be great. Part of the problem I have now is I'm responsible for servers running Linux. My editing laptop is running Mac OS because Final Cut Pro is Mac OS only, and it's way easier to work with than Premiere for the sort of work I do. I tried using Premiere for a year and a half, and it was like the worst year and a half of my life creatively. I hated it. It made me hate making videos, and I really like making videos. And then I switched back to Final Cut Pro, and I'm like, why did I even try? Like, why did I even try to make myself do this? This was a terrible idea from the beginning. So, like, if I could... So I've got Linux servers I'm responsible for. I've got Mac computers I'm responsible for editing. And then I've got the Windows computer for recording and streaming. If I could cut it down to just Linux and Mac OS, that's way less stuff for me to keep up with. So, let's see. I think we probably need to go and get some gear repair in at some point. Fretboard Freak says, use what you love to do what you love. Thumbs up. Yeah, thank you. Alex D. Perazzo says, why don't you like Windows? Because the operating system keeps changing my audio and video settings and breaking things. Like, anytime I reboot the computer, I lose a bunch of time having to change all my webcam settings, all my audio settings. Like, Windows is not designed for audio video production workflows. It's designed to do everything well, but that means it doesn't do the things I need it to do great. And so I'd rather switch to something like with Linux. It's more fully customizable, but you're kind of more on the hook when it breaks. With the Linux stuff, I can set it up the way I want it and know it's not going to change on me. And Mac OS, I don't have quite as much control as with Linux, but Mac OS, they have a big part of their target audience for their high-end hardware is video and audio production. And so they tend not to do things like break all your video and audio production workflows every time the computer restarts, right? So, like, in Tennessee, we have lightning storms all the time. So I might have to, like, completely reset up all my cameras several times a week. And, like, the setting up my camera thing, it won't even, like, let me type in values. It's, like, making me drag things left and right, and it's just, like, the worst. It's completely unnecessary. It's not work, it's a distraction from my work, right? And I'm not I don't wanna keep paying Microsoft to inconvenience me. Right now, I haven't switched over fully because I don't have the extra computer to do it with, basically. But streaming is incredible. Like, the audio video stack for streaming on Windows is incredibly brittle. And, like, I just want to be able to spend that energy on doing creative, fun stuff and not on setting my web camera back the way it was again and again and again. Like, this is the sort of thing that drives people to burnout is all the little things that get in the way of being creative. And so even if I have to, you know, like I said, buy an extra computer in order to get there, that's an investment in my long-term business because my business is about being creative, right? And once again, if there is a problem where one of the computers goes down, well, hey, I just stream and record on the other one. So that's also kind of a insurance policy. Or let's say that, like, Jev came to visit me. At that point, we've got 2 streaming-ready desktops, right? You know, or 2 recording-ready desktops. So, because I'm trying in the long term to build a studio, right? Like a real, like an actual studio that my friends could come visit and work out of, you know? And right now with the pandemic, that's not like a huge, that's not something that I'm front burnering. But in the long term, you know, I'd like to be set up to, because like Nashville is a destination. A lot of people come here, and it'd be cool if we could do collabs and stuff when they arrived. Hermit LAN party. Yeah, kind of. So, like... But yeah, the other thing, too, is, like, if I got on a cycle where it's like, okay, you know, I'm not necessarily buying a new desktop computer every year, but, like, if I can get to a 3-year cycle where it's like, okay, 1 year I replace the editing laptop, 1 year I replace or upgrade one of the desktops, the other year I upgrade or replace the other desktop, you know, like, that way I've got fairly consistent, or maybe it's even bigger than that. Maybe it's a 4-year cycle, and then on the 4th year, there's some other major expense that I replace, right? So that way I can know up front, like, every year I'm going to have a few $1,000s in tax write-offs for equipment upgrades, you know? You don't want to replace all this stuff at once, but you get into a rhythm with it, so that way it's spread out. Alex DiParazzo says, so would you keep one Linux desktop and one macOS desktop? Yeah, that's the idea, is this Windows machine would become the Linux machine. But I can't do that until I have the macOS desktop. I'm kind of waiting to see what they do with the new Mac Pro. I'm really impressed by the ARM64 chips in the laptops. They are way better than I expected. But so that would be... I'm not going to be purchasing this, like, anytime in the next few months. But, like, sometime this tax year, I'll probably be looking at buying a second desktop, unless things go very poorly. Because, like I said, I can't afford to not stream for 10 days if I have to order a new computer in a rush, you know? Like, if there's a supply chain disruption because, you know, China invades Taiwan or something, and then it's impossible to get a new desktop, having only one, and it breaks, you know, that's really bad. I can't build my business assuming everybody else is going to be a rational actor. And also, like I said, even if even if nothing bad happens, in the very least, I have a second high-end gaming PC, so when people come visit, they can stream from here. When my fiance and I are married, she can stream or record on it with me. We can do collabs and stuff together. You know, it's not a terrible thing for me to have a second desktop, given what I do. Now, I'm not saying like, oh, everybody needs to have two computers or whatever. Like, that's silly. But like, but yeah, so that's one of the things I'm really excited about. Is I'm excited about getting back into desktop Linux sometime later this year, hopefully. Like, now that I'm getting more sleep again, I'm getting more excited about things, which I didn't realize how much excitement I was not experiencing. But it's just like, I've started playing bass again. I was practicing with, my daughter got home today, and I was like, showing her the new music stand and the new metronome, and like, you know, we were talking about the parts of the bass, and like, it was just fun, just hanging out and strumming. And Mumbo did a video with the Apple Mac Studio. Yeah, I haven't watched that yet, partially because I don't know if he used and I'm gonna have to go. Yeah, I kind of wanted to ask y'all or somebody who had watched it. Does he actually use software that's been compiled for ARM64? Because I've run Minecraft both through Rosetta and with the ARM64 underlying libraries, and there's a huge performance difference. And so if he was just running it as is on the hardware, he might have only been showing like half of what it could do. Was he? He didn't specify? Gotcha. He says Stephanie Hall says the frame rates were awful. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, no, then he probably didn't set up the software properly. Because, yeah, if you're running it through Rosetta, you're not going to get good performance. Like, I've spent... That's one of the reasons I got the ARM laptop, was so I could experiment with it there. And, like, OBS running ARM64 native versus running through Rosetta, it's night and day. Same thing for Minecraft. Like, even if you, like... And once you, like, add sodium and lithium and stuff in, like, you can get some really good Minecraft performance. Like, for a laptop that produces no heat. Now, I haven't run it on the Studio or any of the desktop versions. Manatee Gag says the frame rates were bad because he was purposely trying to push the machine. Gotcha. He made a world of falling sand and it didn't crash. Gotcha. He was purposely trying to crash the game. Oh no, I fell out of the sky. But yeah, so the thing is too, I'm curious. I'm waiting to see if they come out. One of the reasons I want the Mac Pro as well is if it actually has PCI slots, I want to get this 4 HDMI input card that a lot of the pinball guys use, so I can start using HDMI cameras instead of USB. Because that's like a long-term goal for me, is to be able to do like pinball streaming and stuff with like actually good HDMI cameras. But realistically, that's not like a must-have. That's just something I really like. Real Mystery SA, rating with a party of 11. Welcome. My name is Joe Hills. I'm broadcasting live from Nashville, Tennessee. We are over here near my giant pinball machine mock-up, or model. It's colossal scale. 128 meters wide, 256 meters deep. So basically, it fits onto 2 maps like these. This is my little baby version of it. I am currently cleaning up some area over here. I had planted a bunch of mangrove trees I needed to gather some materials from. So we're doing that. Hey, it looks like we got a tip rolling in as well. Let's see who it's from. Sorrel tipping 20 says, here's some money for the Don't Reset Your Cameras Again fund. Thank you very much. That's going to put us 10 past our next face camera expansion milestone, so here we go. It's time to expand Joe. Yay, we did it. Welcome. Thank you, Sorrel, for that. That puts us 10 away from the next expansion milestone. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Okay. So let's see where we're going with all this. We need to repair this at some point. We also need to chop down a bunch of these tree logs. I'm wondering if it's worth... So my plan was I was going to fix that on the hydration break, but we just got a raid, so we're not going to do the hydration break quite yet. I can go ahead and start gathering some of these logs from underneath. I guess another thing I can technically start doing is I can take the logs we got and start making more chests to save the deep slate into. Hey, welcome, Nola A. Alex Bernstein says HHH tomorrow. I don't know. I forgot that we are back from holidays. But yeah, that's a good question. Is there an HHH tomorrow? Cleo's already asleep, so it's too late to ask her. Maybe? I don't know. I'll probably stream, but I don't know if anybody else will be around for it. What hermits need help? Worst case, we could always go help Beef with his card game, I guess. Is Tango willing to ask for help? Is another question. Because, he might arguably need help with his decked out thing, but every time we bother him, he's always like, no, that's good, I'm good. So, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so we're gonna make a bunch of chests real quick. Oh, but we can't name the chests if we don't get inventories, if we don't get levels. If it's on decked out, it might be secret. Start mining it out of an area until he tells us where to be productive. Yeah, that was my idea, but I don't know if it'll actually work. Strong arm him into accepting help. Well, it also depends if he's online or not. He's often online around that time. I might be able to do some resource gathering and shopping. Impulse might need help with his industrial area. Yeah. Possibly, that's true. What does he need help with the industrial area? Could we fix it? Tito Mido says, I play Minecraft Java on macOS and Linux as well. Works great. It's a bit of a task to get Minecraft running at full speed on M1 and M2. Yeah, I ran into some trouble getting the, is it LJWGL or LWJGL working? But once I got that going, it helped a lot. But then I think something happened and it stopped working, and I'm like, I'll come back to it. He's flattening and adding in terracotta. Alex says, you deserve a chance at hosting HHH. Yeah, but, I don't have anything that needs doing right now. I mean, we could take out those trees, but that wouldn't fill HHH, taking out those trees. If I could have gotten help when I was doing the sand thing, that would have been great, but that just didn't line up with other people's schedules. So, I did it on my own. But, the stuff I'm doing now, I don't really need help with. I'm mining for diamonds for Beef's card game. I'm doing some inventory management stuff. I'm not really... I don't have, a project that I could assign people tasks on. Does the seafloor under your base need leveling? I have to do some math on that I haven't done. I guess in theory, I could go and do those measurements, and I'm not prepared to do that tonight. And I'm not sure if I would be ready to do that in time. If I could be. The problem is it doesn't need leveling, Monsieur Limpay. It needs sloping. And so I need to get the exact... Basically, I would need to figure out the exact Y level that it needs to come down to here. And then I need to figure out what the slope is exactly and like how many blocks it is. So what I'd probably end up having to do is doing a full like line. I'd have to do one end and then say, okay, everybody make it even with the one end over here, right? But I am I have to do math. I don't want to. But I mean, I could take the time. I was going to spend some time tomorrow before HHH editing my next episode. But now that Beef's already published the fight, that's less important. So I could reallocate that editing time to measuring and stuff. But once again, though, I don't even know if other people are available tomorrow. Because, like, of holiday travel and stuff. Like, I don't know if there is an HHH tomorrow. So it would be nice if I had that ready in case 8 people were like, hey, what are we doing for HHH? But Doc might be trying to smooth out the edge of his perimeter. Maybe. He hasn't mentioned it to us, if so. But that would be good to know. Bum, bum, bum. Let's pull out all of that. Okay, I'm still left with all these. But that's fine. I can use those to make another block of chests here. Doc's plan is probably not HHH friendly, according to Chloe the Great and Powerful. Okay. Did I ever find the edge of the perimeter while mining for diamonds? No, I ran into lava. Okay. So, we might get disconnected from the server in this attempt to go fix our tools, but let's try it. It's Maya says, it's my birthday. Feliz cumpleaños, Sati. Feliz cumpleaños, Sati. Feliz cumpleaños, Amaya. Feliz cumpleaños, Sati. Y muchos más. Monsieur Limpe says if you have it ready, it doesn't need to be done in tomorrow's HHH. It will keep for when people are available. I mean, maybe. I mean, honestly, the thing with stuff like that, though, is once I actually do one of the reasons I haven't done the math on that yet is because I know that as soon as I actually get it figured out, I'll go, that's a lot easier than doing the pixel art on the side of the machine. Right? And so it's gonna kill... I've been doing some off-camera... Like, my off-camera planning time has been spent on figuring out, like, the pixel art stuff. And... I feel like it's more visually impressive if I can, like... This is why I've been getting all these diamonds, so I can buy the stuff to make the pixel art. Like it's a fork. If I start on doing the bottom of the machine, I'm gonna go, well, now that I've started that, I should finish that for this episode. But then I'm gonna spend like 10 days working on the bottom of the machine, because no one's actually gonna help me for HHH. I'm just gonna end up doing it myself. So I'd rather just not do the math, because if I don't do the math, I'm like, I can't even start on that yet. It's, what was I? No, I'm going to the spider farm. Dang it. Got lost. I don't want to have too many tasks available at once. Boom, 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 boom. This is a terrible place for this. Okay. So, Cave Spider Farm. Let's see who we need to thank here. Let's see. Mr. Hardluck requested My Destinies in Tennessee. So that's about a 5-minute song. I'm going to go ahead and refill my drink, and I will be right back. Then we'll kill these spiders, fix our tools, and be on our way. Time skip, except not.
Say to be the very best, you gotta travel across the land. But I'm happy here at pretty good, just out walking with my friends. So you can fly from coast to coast for all the antics events. But my destiny's here in Tennessee, my Pokédex in hand. You run your laps chasing lickitung in Providence, and you arc your throws for Electabuzz in St. Louis. But when you're lost in Boston seeking Pokestops, boo-hoo, we'll all still be spinning them up on Rocket Top. It's true. Well, you can race to catch 'em all and fall flat on your face. We'll hatch our Togepi's here in Tennessee at our own predestined pace. We don't need Tanglers from Los Angeles. If you're there chasing Charizard, you're making your life way too hard. Clutching garlic, pounding pavement down Ventura Boulevard. We don't need Nidoqueens from down New Orleans. I hate to rain on solo you, but parades need a willing crew. All those squirtles on St. Charles saw you wandering and withdrew. Well, you can race to catch 'em all and fall flat on your face. We'll hatch our Togepi's here in Tennessee at our own predestined pace. We don't need Lapras from hapless or polipers from Mississippers. There's enough Weedles on Monteagle, we could evolve a swarm of Beedrill. There's enough Snubble down the Shovel, we could team Sled with Grumble. We don't need Oregon from out in Oregon, or any Pikachus from up in Massachusetts. Sorry, Professor Oklahoma, we'll raid gyms in Tullahoma. Sorry, Pokecoin Palooka, we'll hatch on hikes in Chattanooga. Well, you can race to catch 'em all and fall flat on your face. We'll hatch our Togepi's here in Tennessee at our own predestined pace. Well, you can race to catch 'em all and fall flat on your face. We'll hatch our Togepi's here in Tennessee at our own predestined pace.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's take down that hydration break sign, turn the camera back on. Howdy, y'all. Joe Hills here, recording as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee. Hope you enjoyed that hydration break. Just as a quick reminder, we are $10 away from our third face camera expansion of the evening. And let's go ahead and put that cave spiders farm thing back there. Whoa, that pig man surprised me. I was not anticipating that. But okay, that's fine. We are going to be on our way back to my base, cleaning up some of those mangroves that were making trouble for us. Okay. Let's think for a second. Having thought. Yeah, I do need to double check some measurements around the pinball machine, but I don't know if I want to do that on camera because it's going to be a lot of me writing down numbers. Whereas at least the mangrove stuff, it's like we're breaking mangroves. Do. Bum, 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 bum. I hope y'all are having a chill Sunday night. We have, the year is about to start again in earnest for us here in Tennessee. Probably for you too. This might be your last kind of chill day of the Christmas break era. I don't know about y'all, but my daughter's going back to school tomorrow. And so that means a lot of my other obligations in life are about to resume too. For example, if y'all enjoy my newsletter, which is mostly about Patreon community stuff. It's not super relevant to the whole Joe Hills viewer community, but the folks who are active on the Discord and the Patreon Minecraft servers, there's a lot of news for them in there about once a week. That's going to be coming out with our first issue tomorrow. Going to be working with that Tommy boy, our community liaison, to get that out the door. We're going to be posting whatever is... We're going to be posting basically the final agenda for the quarterly meeting, which is going to be next week, or, well, I don't know. We'll the date will be in there. I don't know what date it is. The reason we put out a newsletter is so that I don't have to make up the dates for things. I can just say, check the newsletter. But that's coming up in mid-January, our big quarterly meeting for the Patreon community to make any changes to the Discord server or Minecraft servers or stuff like that as we go. I found like getting into a quarterly tempo with that stuff is good because people know that like big changes could happen, but there's only going to be big changes 4 times a year at most. And we're generally going to talk about them in advance of the actual final decision-making meeting. So it's been good for me too, especially because then I don't have to stress about like I don't have to like if somebody's like, Joe, you should change this. It's like, okay, cool, we'll talk about it at the quarterly meeting. If anybody else has any feedback, let us know between now and then. So instead of me stressing out about like, oh, do I need to change this right now or not? It's like, that's not a decision for today. I can just focus on my creative work. We'll make that decision at the right time. And not stress about it now. And then the folks in the community know if, you know, I'm not just going to roll in one day and be like, everything's threads now. I've switched the entire Discord over to threads. Like, it's kind of the same problem as the Linux desktop constantly wanting to noodle with it thing. Is like, I shouldn't be making changes to something that anything mission critical doesn't need changes all the time. Tomorrow's newsletter will also include details about the first half of 2023 Pinball FX3 tournament. We are going to have a series of weekly tournaments once again. We had a lot of fun with that last year. We kind of took a break over the holidays. Polaris North Star says, I'm not even in the Discord and I'm scared of the word threads. Oh, yeah. They're like clothes, but for young people. They're too fashionable. You're not ready, Polaris North Star. You're not ready. Devin Crotty says, ew, threads. Pearl! Evening, Pearl! It might not be evening for Pearl. That's one of those things, like, I should know by now what time it is in Australia, and I think it might be morning for her. Maybe, I don't know. It's 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Pearl time. Okay. So we're no closer than I thought. It's fine. It's fine. It has been so nice having Gem and Pearl on the server. I am really glad that we started bringing people on again. Because, like, the one season where we didn't add anybody new, like, part of HermitCraft is the expansion and contraction, all sorts of artists from all over the world coming together to make something. Like, even if you don't watch Gem and Pearl, like, I hope that you have the opportunity to appreciate that playing with new people is a chance for all of us to learn something new as artists, and it makes us all better entertainers and creators. And that Empire's crossover had a lot of the same benefits as bringing someone in. Isn't that this season? No, we brought Gem and Pearl in season 8. I think it was season 7 we didn't bring anybody on. People are saying this season there's also no one new. I can't... I really don't think that doesn't feel correct. But I can't name anyone new who joined this season. You guys might be right. Maybe we didn't add anybody this season. I probably just avoid thinking about that because that means I failed somehow. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Nope. Nope. Actually, you're absolutely 100% correct. Wow. I guess I had just suppressed thinking about that. Wow. I was trying to say nice things. No, you all are getting me upset. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. But yeah. No, you're right. We did not bring anyone on this season. Not for lack of trying. Didn't we at least have, like, we had people come back, though, who didn't we have people come back in Season 9 who weren't in Season 8 or something? I feel like we had some sort of change, though. Was there somebody who was inactive in Season 8 that came back? Hey! Carl, thank you so much for tipping 100 even. Boom! That is one full abacus. That is going to get you 5 face camera expansions. Yeah, Iskall and Wells came back. That's right. Yeah. But anyway, that's 5 full face camera expansions, Carl. But before we get into all those, let's go ahead and read Carl's message. Carl writes, I laughed so hard when Ollie came over and read the pinball message. This is to help you get closer to that computer. Take care and keep being your best weird self in the best way. That's my intent, Carl. So here we go. It's time to expand Joe. Do. Numero dos. Even larger Joes on your screen. Now for that third expansion, that's actually going to get us, somewhere a little different. Up to this point, y'all have seen that money go straight to my head. But now, like Jacob Marley, these chains I've forged... What? Oh, boy. These chains I've forged in life are about to begin pulling me down to the deep below. Enter the Joust. Bum, 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 bum. Hey, Cub fam people, welcome Raiders. We're in the middle of a face camera expansion bit. We have 2 more face camera expansions to go. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. How about I expand some more? Woo! Woo! Lowering the opacity now to 70%. No, 80%. Yeah. And then, is that it? No, we have 1 more to go. Expand Joust. Lowering the opacity now to 70%. We are now $10 away from the most obnoxious face cam, the Tony Stark helmet cam. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Cub fan Raiders, welcome. We have a gimmick here where every time we hit a tipping milestone, the camera gets bigger. Some people say, Joe, I love your videos, but I can't watch your streams. Well, here's the thing. When I started doing this, before this, I would make $6 a stream. When I started doing this, I all of a sudden had enough money to quit my day job. And that means that I can actually show up for Hermit events. Before, I would try to take a vacation day at my day job when there was going to be a big Hermit filming thing. But, like, 50% of the time, the Hermits at the last minute would be like, actually, let's just record this tomorrow. We're not ready. And I'd be like, no, I already took the day off work. I can't take tomorrow off too on short notice. Oh, no. But now I can make all the YouTube videos and show up for the Empires collabs and stuff like that. So, if you don't love this face camera, that's okay. You don't have to. The YouTube videos will still be face cam free the way you like them. But this is what pays for those. So, thank you so much to Carl, who just tipped for 5 face camera expansions all in one go. And thank you to everybody else who supports the show. So, okay. Here's what we are working on right now. If you are not super familiar with my show, you might also not realize that my base this year, or season, is a giant pinball machine called Deep Field. It is 128 blocks wide and 256 blocks deep, so I could actually map it onto Minecraft maps from above right here. So, oh yeah, also as the camera gets bigger, it also gets more transparent. So, as the camera gets bigger, it gets easier to see through. Jag Gilbert says, does it last long? No, the face camera resets every day at 6 a.m. Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania time, because in this house, we follow Groundhog Day rules. Hupple says, still not used to seeing you without a beard. Well, get used to it, because I'm not regrowing it. I know some people were like, Joe, are you growing the beard back? Because, like, it looked like I was trying to grow a beard, but what it actually was I was forgetting to shave for days at a time. So, yeah. Let's go ahead. We are cleaning up over here, because I had planted a bunch of mangrove trees in order to create the kind of wintry area near my Elvira's House of Horrors. And I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. But I needed a million mangrove roots. So I just planted a bunch of mangrove trees over here and then harvested the roots and left the tops of them, which, if this was an area other people visited, would be very rude. But since it's just me, it's not that... Like, nobody comes over here. But it's still ugly, and I want to fix it, so I'm cleaning that up now. I have silk-touched so many leaves now. We have chests and chests of these mangrove leaves. At this point, I'm switching to the non-silk touch tools. Cub says, I noticed Joe. I need to work on my Cub fan voice. I notice Joe. Ha, 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 ha. I think I'm getting closer. I got the laugh down, at least. I got the laugh. Chloe the Great and Powerful in the YouTube chat says, sounds just like him. Mokila says, great impression. I hope you had a fantastic stream, Cub. Were you doing more those world record, like, what do you call them? Speed runs? Is Joe the Penguin? I feel like the Penguin would be more nasal. I don't know. Kurt says, first time on Joe's stream, I joined and he's grunting. That wasn't a grunt. That was my impression of Cub fan laughing. I didn't say it was a good impression. I leave that to you. I'm very humble. I'll let y'all tell me how great I am. That's how humble I am. I don't need to say it. Hey, Waffzilla, writes Joe Seppi. Okay, normally, so I went to high school with this guy. I've known him for years. Usually when he's here, it's something like, hey, somebody needs to go to the hospital, or, hey, you were featured in a video exposing, oh, that Donkey Kong cheater. What is it this time? What is it this time, Waffzilla? What brings you to my stream this fine evening, and how much do I need to prepare myself? This time you've got an idea. Okay, fantastic. What do you got for me, Waff? What do you got for me? But I don't know if I should... If you don't know if it's an idea you should lay out on stream, then don't show up in the middle of the stream. Cub fan says, oh man, I forgot you exposed Billy Mitchell. That's wild. Yeah, so, apparently there was this thing where Billy Mitchell was suing somebody for defamation because the guy said Billy Mitchell was a cheater who cheated in front of crowds of people when playing video games. And Billy Mitchell's like, no, I'm not. And then that guy used my footage of Billy Mitchell playing Pac-Man from Music City Multicon. I was just filming it because I was like, oh, hey, it's Billy Mitchell, and he's, like, gonna get a world record or something. But, like, the footage that I posted on my YouTube of him getting this world record was him lying about getting the world record and cheating. And so it was submitted in evidence in this defamation case. So that's fun. Like, if I've accomplished nothing else in life, it's that. I saw him again this year. He was back. He came back to Music City Multicon this year. I was shocked. I don't think he recognized me because I don't think he knows what I look like, but he did not look happy. So either he was just unhappy in general or he was unhappy with me. That was unclear. I should have introduced you to him. Did you talk to him this year? This is Joe, the guy who ruined your... No, I don't want Billy Mitchell to know who I am. I work really hard to stay off people's radar. I try very hard to not be famous. Anytime my stream starts doing too well, I find an excuse to make the webcam bigger. Mostly by getting more people to give me money. But still! Like, yeah. No, I don't need that kind of heat. Billy Mitchell knowing who I am. That is no good. Can you tell me... So whatever this idea is that you can't tell me on stream, can you tell me roughly what it's about so I'm not full of dread for the next... I was going to say half hour. Wow, we're actually close to 10:30. So I'm not full of dread for the next 8 minutes. The stream is wrapping up in about 8 minutes, folks. Carl says, one day we will get Jomez Adams in a single stream. Yeah, one day. I think that's happened on my birthday before. I feel like that's definitely happened at least once. Oh, a sequel to Wine Science. Okay. So Wine Science was a experiment. So PlayOnCon's theme last year was Mad Science. And so they had a Mad Science fair at the convention. And Wafzilla had a wine tasting where he basically had... Because people at PlayOnCon all claim they're really good at drinking. Everybody at PlayOnCon says they're good at drinking because it's kind of a drinking gaming convention. And so Wafzilla set up an experiment. He had a table where he had free wine, and he had three, he had wine A, wine B, and wine C. And then he had a list of 15 wines that they might be, and was like, okay, everybody gets 3 cups of wine, and you get a little card, and you write what you think wine A is, what you think wine B is, and what you think wine C is, right? And so, one of them was red, one of them was white, and one of them was, like, carbonated, like champagne. You know what I mean? And so how many people actually did the experiment? Wafzilla, are you still here? How many people did the experiment? I feel like it was like, you actually got a decent amount of data. It was it at least 20? Okay, so let's say 24 people did the experiment. I'm going to take this off also, because these chains are really harshing my vibe right now. Between 20 and 30. Okay, so this is an actual... So, once again, this is for a Mad Science fair. And if there's anything that's arguably unethical, it's asking human subjects to ingest things without telling them what it is. All 3 wines were actually, Franzia white. He had used red food coloring on one of them. One of them was just the Franzia as is, and one of them was, he had run it through a Franzia crisp white, he says. He had run it through a soda stream to carbonate it, which gave it like a bubbly champagne-like thing. But the answer was wine A, wine B, and wine C were all Franzia crisp white. One carbonated, one pink, one red. Oh, okay, sorry. So none of them were right. Okay, so one of them looked like a rosé. So you didn't leave any of them fully like the original. Gotcha. But yeah, so all 3 were the same wine. And in terms of like embracing the theme of Mad Science Fair, his hypothesis was that nobody's actually good at wine tasting, or at least nobody at PlayOnCon is good at wine tasting. Right? Or something like that. No, your hypothesis was a picture of a triangle where you pointed to the hypotenuse and labeled it hypothesis. But still, He had like a 3-panel board and everything. It was really good. I still think you should have won. But okay, so you want to pitch me on wine science round 2. Okay. I did not participate in wine science round 1 because I thought it was unethical to feed people Franzia without warning them. I was like, we gotta at least go with a Boda box here. Because, like, for me, I've got some stomach problems, and I can stomach most wine, but, like, the super cheap boxed wine will make me really sick. And so, well, this is also, because I know this about myself, I wouldn't do a blind wine tasting, but I was just like, you know, maybe we should set the baseline higher if I'm gonna be involved. And Waff was like, I think it's funnier this way. So, which, I mean, it is funnier with Franzia, objectively, but, so that's why I was not I didn't participate in the experiment last time. Nola says, of course it was unethical. It was mad science. Chloe the Great and Powerful says, I was a sommelier. You can just say whatever. Everyone just pretends they know what they're talking about. Sorry, I got a piece of ice with my lemonade. I'm trying to lay off the carbonation after 10. But anyway, Stephanie Hall, lay your head down and dream. Purple Fuzzy Hippo says, having the name on the list is a good start, but red food coloring allergies are real. Yeah, so that's also fair. Wafzilla says, also, fun tip, using a soda stream on wine causes it to explode. Yeah, how many times did the soda stream blow up? Like, he put a lot of effort into this. So I am curious to hear what the pitch for Wine Science number 2 is. But yeah, anyway, so if you want to go to PlayOnCon, there's always a lot of nonsense there. One of my other friends came up with an idea that he might try at PlayOnCon, not for like a mad science thing, but for a gaming thing. A Trivial Pursuit tournament where my friend brings like all 30 versions of Trivial Pursuit he has, and everyone plays with whatever set of cards they want, but on the same board. So, like, normally, if your friend is like, I want to play Lord of the Rings Trivial Pursuit, and you're like, I don't know anything about Lord of the Rings, you guys can't play together. But what about if you had 30 different decks of cards to choose from, and you only had to, and everybody's on the same board, but you're all playing with whatever you're the best at. So one person might be like, oh, I know everything about Star Wars. I want the Star Wars Trivial Pursuit questions. And somebody else is like, oh man, I know everything about sports in the 1980s. I want the 1980s Trivial Pursuit question, or the 1980s sports questions, that sort of thing. So we might experiment with that at PlayOnCon this year if that friend goes. PlayOnCon's also where I got to play live-action Wiz War for the first time, and the only time. Nobody else does live-action Wiz War. It is insane. It is a lot of effort to set up, which is one of the reasons they kind of stopped doing it. But it's really fun. Oh, wait. I had plenty of rockets. What was it I didn't have? Time. Time is what I didn't have, because it is a school night. I'm doing a hard stop at 10:30. I'm trying to take better care of my sleep schedule. So we're maxing out on school nights at a 2-hour stream in the evening. I will try to stream tomorrow afternoon. Whether or not there is an HHH, I don't know one way or the other. Tomorrow morning, I will not be streaming because I've got to work on the newsletter. One thing I need to do tonight, or tomorrow morning, probably tonight, is I need to set up the first pinball tournament of the new year. So, yeah. Let me get on that. Okay, so what are we doing? We need to find somebody to raid. We just got raided by our good friend Cub Fan. But I don't think anybody else is streaming on HermitCraft right now. So let's scroll down here. Bum 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 bum. Oh boy. I don't. The people I know who are streaming like weird games that I can't recommend. Gosh. Okay, let's go to categories and see. Yeah, we're not doing that. Okay, what about this? It looks like Zloy XP is streaming. He's in the recommended here. So we're gonna slash raid Zloy XP with the one of the writers from the HermitCraft recap. When you get over there, our raid message is howdy y'all, Joe Hills raid here. Anyway, until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring. Do. Stop streaming. Stop in the stream. Go talk to Zloy XP.